Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Vendor List. It is the only wedding podcast that you need so you can learn a little something while you're getting ready for your wedding. It's one of the hardest things that you could do, and I wanted to come on here today and do a bonus episode for you. This is something out of the blue. It is extra. It is not expected, but you know what? That's what we do here. I want to just give this a little nugget to you because there's something that's been going through my brain, and we haven't yet addressed it. And I don't want to bug Jess while she's on vacation right now on Thanksgiving weekend. Right now it's Saturday as I'm recording this. And I just, hey, listen, this is a one-man show today. And my name is Adam Carluccio, and I wanted to explain and kind of go over a typical wedding vendor's calendar. And the reason that's important to you is because where you're getting married in the year definitely matters. And where you're considering getting married definitely matters for two different reasons. First off, from a booking standpoint, if you're trying to get married in like the fall, like September or October, and it's like less than a year out, good luck hiring a good vendor. And I don't say that to be mean. I say that so that to maybe hopefully light a fire under your butt and get to it, because fall vendors book up so fast. I'm talking 18 months out because everybody wants to get married in the fall. That makes sense, right? But, spring, there's other spots in the calendar that we can go through, and I'm going to show you exactly what to expect depending on where you're getting married. Also, why this is important is because once you've set your date, now it's important to know what kind of mindset your vendors are going to be in. And I can guarantee that a few of them are going to at least chime in on the comments of this and say, yep, absolutely, he's right. Because here's the end all be all of this. We're all people. We're all humans, and it's stressful for anyone. Everybody feels stressed. No matter how many times we've done this, of course we're going to feel stress. Otherwise, we're robots. I live on that. That's why I love this job. I thrive on stress. When I was a baseball player, I used to always hope that I would be the one that was up with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth, even though I was a terrible hitter for some reason. I just loved that stress and the pressure of it hopefully becoming me as the hero. And then it kind of drove me because I was a terrible hitter, and I'm 5'7" and a tiny little thing. People started throwing sliders at my knees, and I was like, all right, well, this is just too much for me now. I'll try to find something else that I can actually, really deliver at when the pressure does hit. And go figure, it was weddings. Now, that took a long way to get here because, I've learned every instrument and under the sun that is in a band, drums, guitar, piano, bass, singing, DJing now. I got a radio background, and I say this all to say that even with that 15-year, 20-year experience, of course I feel the stress every wedding. I have to. Otherwise I won't care as much. Like if you're not feeling that stress as a vendor, then you're just mailing it in. And so when that's the case and you're hiring all good vendors because you've listened to this podcast and you've taken our advice and you really value a good strong vendor team so that you can just go chill on your big day, let us make sure that it all happens and handle anything that comes up. Well, along with that is the fact that we're people too. And I wanted to address that today, because the last few months have been rough on everyone. Not just couples, but I'm talking vendors. Spring is important. I've broken this down. Here, let's go through the calendar. But I will tell you on just like a little preface, in the last 2 months of September and fall, I did 21 weddings in just those 2 months alone. It was awesome, crushed. Every single one of them I'll do it again in a heartbeat, but when I would go to each wedding, I always like to kind of diffuse vendors as we're all setting up, because that, we're all feeling that stress. So I like to say something, maybe crack a joke, just make everybody kind of realize, like, hey, we're going to have fun tonight. Like, oh, okay, our DJ's cool. He's got us. And I always say, like, hey, so how you doing? You all right? You a little burnt out? How's it going during those fall months? Because I know I am. And they all say the same thing. Oh my God, dude, I'm dying. Like, I'm dying. So let's talk about why that is. Is that a problem for you as you hire through vendors? Like, do you want to not get somebody who's booked up? We'll talk about it. I have some very important insight that I think I can share. And again, we wish Jess the best on Thanksgiving. I just decided to come on and do this today as I had the weekend here. My dog Clyde is hanging out with us. So we wish her the best. And I'd love to get her thoughts when we come back and do an episode next week. So with that being said, I've broken the calendar down for you in crazy times, off-season, and vacation. This is from a vendor's perspective so that you as a couple can get into our mindset and know, like, that knowing that we're people too, okay, this is a crazy time for them. Let me be maybe a little bit more organized in the way that I'm doing this to help them do their jobs. Maybe I'm not saying that vendors all need this. A good vendor isn't going to need this. I'm just telling you, if you really want to get the most out of your vendor, you're going to think about this stuff because they can't say this to you. They can't. And they're going to have to just push through no matter how stressed they get. But if we can all work together and know this, like our couples don't have any clue, right? So I thought about that. I was like, do they even know that this is busy season, or do they just think that it's like a wedding in October, like October 20th? Like every single person wants to get married on that weekend. So let's talk about it, right? So crazy times, off season, and vacation. Crazy times are basically in season. That's April, May, and June in the spring. And then it's September, October, November in the fall. All right. And then November, you could say it's tapering off, but I'm telling you, in here in DC, now it's going to differ depending on where you are. If you're in Los Angeles, then you can do this stuff all year round. But on the East Coast, typical 4-season calendar, yeah, for sure. September, October are nuts, and then November, it's pretty packed, but it's tapering off. Like I might do 10 and 11 in September, October, and then like 7 or 8 in November. The off season is December through March, and then July and August. And there's a reason for that. So December, there's not as many weddings, but there are way more corporate parties, especially for DJs. Like we work a lot of company holiday parties right now. However, there are not a ton of weddings, maybe like 4 or 5, and maybe like a New Year. I have a New Year's party this year, a New Year's wedding. I'm so excited for that. Oh, we're gonna throw down. I'm gonna throw down with these people, man. New Year's? Are you kidding? Oh, it ends at like 12:30, so we get to do the midnight drop. Ooh! So yeah, I'm very excited for that. But definitely less weddings in December, January, February, and March. March starts ramping up the same way November starts ramping down. Okay. And this is also beneficial, remember, because if you're trying to figure out where to book, okay, well, you probably have a little bit more leeway in March than you're going to have trying to book somebody in May. I can promise you that. April, May books up. May and October are the two here in Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, East Coast. Those are the two where it's like spring is in full bloom and fall, the colors are beautiful. May, October. All right. April's still nice, but you got the chance for rain. March, it's a lot of rain, maybe even some snow. So you see what I mean? Like people are trying to go with the weather. All right. So with that being said, when do you take vacations as a vendor? Well, Jess, which told us on a previous episode, she does 2 months every year where it's July. And I believe she said February and July. Check me on that. But I think that's what she said. I have it written in my notes for myself, February and July, August. Now, this year it turned out being March, but that's just what it is. Random February bookings came through. So, okay, I'm going to take March off. But do we sound crazy taking months off like this? It's like teachers. It's like teachers where they have a couple months off in the summer. Teachers go through so much stress with your kids. I did it. I was a special ed teacher for 3 years, and I loved every minute of it. Right out of college. It was awesome. But the stress that goes along with that job is it's equivalent. Maybe not on a one day, it's all the stress of 1 year in 1 day. That's what a wedding is. But a teacher feels that too. And then there's a couple months off, and people kind of look at that as like, do you really need a couple months off? Talk to a teacher. Ask them. All right. Mindset is huge. Think about you as a bride and groom. Are you making better decisions when you're on a good night's sleep and you haven't had to be on 9 million calls in 3 days? Like you've spaced it out and you've kind of chunked it out and you've taken a little bit at a time. You're making better decisions that way. We're all human. And this is one of the most important days of your life. It's important to get this right. And for me as a vendor, when one of the things that can make it difficult that I try to manage my couples to do well, and I do a really good job of this. I'm hoping a lot of other vendors will hopefully learn a little bit from this. If you're feeling stressed during those crazy times, those huge in-season months, you got to manage the way that the information is coming into you. So I always tell my couples, like, please try not to send me, one song selection here and then a different email thread with a different song selection here and then 3 song selections. Just one email thread with all the music. And ideally, don't even send it to me until it's all done. Ask me all the questions, but I don't need you sending me stuff piecemeal like one at a time because, this is all coming in over the course of a year, and we're all working other weddings while this is happening, and you're sending us stuff as you think of it like, oh, let's do this for the father-daughter. I'm going to shoot that over to him. Okay, just throw it in a document. Like, we don't need it until like a month out, right? So just wait until it's all complete, and then just here it is, DJ. If you have any questions, lean on us every single day. That's what we're here for. But all I'm saying is, like, our couples, I don't think, have any idea. They don't know any better. Like, oh, I think it's probably helpful for them to just send us the stuff as soon as we have it. Really not. And I tell all my couples that, and they do an awesome job of just kind of have a document going, start running some playlists on Spotify if you're playlist type of people. But, with all this stuff, like, if it's little tiny details, just wait until it's all done and then send it to your vendors, especially if you're getting married in one of these high traffic months where there's a lot of weddings coming in. Now, I want to address something here. Should a vendor book that many weddings? This is our livelihood, okay? So if you're booking somebody who's like a full-time wedding vendor, the way that you're able to run your own business and do this and provide these services for people and really make a difference in their lives, you've got a lot of fees to pay. You've got a lot of taxes to pay, double than the regular W-2 person, okay? And you've got a lot more health insurance to pay. So right off the bat, just a quick, so you know, like, as contractors, a typical W-2 person who's got a 9-to-5 is going to pay 15.3% of their, if they make $100,000 a year, they're going to pay 15.3% of that as a employment tax. But then their employer is going to match another 15.3. That's awesome. So you only have to pay, as the person, 15.3%. As self-employed, you have to pay both of those because you're the person, the employee, and the employer. How screwed up is that? So my taxes off the bat are like 35% easy, like before anything out the door, which is way more than you would pay on a W-2. So like my $100,000 is not the same as you getting $100,000 as a salaried employee. First off. Second off, like medical, I mean, at least $400 a month. That's just for me alone. I don't have any family or anything. So like me getting like the bronze, crappy, like $8,000 deductible, I hope I don't die type of insurance is like, $400 a month right there out of your pocket. So, 35 cents out of every dollar and then $400 a month easy. And then all the fees that it costs to market and the business license that every single city and municipality tries to screw you on. I mean, it is what it is, but it just gets to be a bit much. I don't mean to drone on here. All I'm trying to explain is that wedding vendors who try to do this full time have a lot more to think about than you would realize. And so they have to book as many as they can, or they just have to charge an arm and a leg for the ones that they do. So if you're enjoying that you got your vendor at your budget, but wish they weren't as, overworked, well then, okay, cool. Maybe just pay them twice as much and then they don't have to, right? You probably don't want to do that. So it's kind of like a give and take. Like the best vendors are going to be booked up and really working a lot during these main months because no one's getting married in February. There's a reason we take February off. Why do you think Jess takes July off? There's so many fewer weddings in July, August, January, and February, and really even March. Like I don't have one wedding booked for March next year, so I'm purposely blocking it off. A lot started coming in for February, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm not taking February off. But maybe it'll probably end up being 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. But we've got to recharge the battery. So if you're a vendor, what's the word I'm looking for? Implore? That's not the word. I beg you. If you do know the word that I'm thinking of right now, please comment because it's killing me. I implore you. There it is. Did you know that? Comment below, subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. It does help us. Appreciate it as we're trying to grow. But I implore you, vendors, take some time off. Recharge the batteries. You got to do it, man, because you have to be at your best every single time you go to work. Nothing against the 9-to-5. I did it so many. I have a business degree. I was a teacher. As a teacher, there's no days off, but you can throw in a TV. Oh my God, excuse me. Throw in a movie or a video. You can do that. You can take a day off and get a substitute. There's none of that as a wedding vendor. So there's a lot of pressure that goes into this, and I'm trying to speak from a true vendor's perspective, not because I'm, too tired or anything. I'm so energized. I was so proud of how I managed my stress and anxiety and my bandwidth of what I could take on this year. So proud of it. 21 weddings in September and October alone, and could have done more. I did a stretch of 6 weddings in 8 days and took on a 7th like a corporate event on like one of my days off because I was just in a zone. I was managing all the information as it came in. My couples were listening to me and they were awesome. They were sending in the stuff where it needed to happen. And I was helping them and on phone calls all week, helping them, put that stuff together, but not having to fish through it once I wanted to go get it organized when it was time to do their weddings. It was just that alone was super helpful. So I think it's important for couples to know, the mindset of what your vendor is going through as we go through the calendar. Boom. So there's that. I wanted you to just have that insight, know what a vendor's going through so that you can get the best out of them when they're working the most important day of your life. And if they're not even feeling like they care, that's a problem too. That's a huge red flag. Like, your vendors should feel like friends. Jess always says that. I should feel like a friend who's at your wedding who really just cares so much about this going off, even more than perfect. And it is possible because a lot of times the client thinks something in their head and that's perfect. That's the baseline. But then you go above and beyond and you just do more for them. And they didn't even expect it. And it's like, oh my God, I love my DJ. That's what you get out of Jess as a photographer. That's what you get out of me every time. I also wanted to address one thing. I hope that you don't think that the way that I am on a microphone here on the podcast is quite necessarily how I am at a wedding. Because a lot of you are starting to get to know me through this podcast where as a DJ, the personality is all of it. It's everything. And like, how do you know how to book a DJ's personality, based off of that? Because anybody can look good on a website or in a video or, on a phone call. You start getting to know somebody on a podcast, like this is intimate. You're getting all of my inner thoughts. But I hope that you understand that I'm taking this from a behind the scenes standpoint. This is how it would sound if you were catching us vendors back eating dinner while everybody is out, during the buffet. Okay. While we're, all of our blocks are off and we're not trying to be like PC about stuff. We're not in front of the clients. We're not client facing. We're just kind of, oh, okay, so what's going on? How's it going? Yeah, all right, are we on time for this? Like you're getting it raw here. At your wedding, I'm going to be client facing. Like I'm going to be very classy. I'm going to be fun, but minimalistic on the microphone. I'm not the DJ who's going to be talking all the time because the music speaks for itself, and I'm going to help you build that. We're going to do that together. Here's an example of what it sounds like to hear somebody client facing and then hearing them reel. And I hope you understand the difference of the two so that when you see this and you hear this, you now understand what you're getting from this show. Not that I'll be fake at your wedding. It's two very different perspectives from one person. One, professional, client-facing. Two, behind the scenes, this is what you get. This is the real stuff when I don't have to worry about who hears it. This is Dan Marino in a commercial shoot. Is it 1980 what? I'll go figure it out. Just enjoy this. This is way back in the day. As he's shooting a commercial, you'll hear him both professionally and then also behind the scenes as real as it gets. Take it away, Dan.
Per day, you'll get round-trip airfare and tickets to a game, a complete uniform, and a chance to meet me. Stay tuned. I'll have details on how to enter, and we'll be announcing a winner later tonight.
Okay, it was a little long, and I think you flubbed on that last.
Did not flub at all.
No, it wasn't a flub.
There was no flub.
But,
It was not a flub.
You want to see that playback?
No, come on, let's do it.
Okay? Just to hear it.
So good.
Take 3, 25-second version, and action.
Hi, I'm Dan Marino from the Miami Dolphins. Welcome to Visa NFL Quarterback Club Week on. I hope you've enjoyed your Thanksgiving Day. We have more NFL action on this Sunday starting at 1 p.m. Eastern. But tonight, you'll get a chance to be my backup quarterback for a day. You'll get round-trip airfare and tickets to a game, a complete uniform, and a chance to meet me. Stay tuned. I'll have details on how to enter, and we'll be announcing a winner later tonight.
Perfect.
Send it in.
You want to see playback on it?
Nope. I don't want to see
It's unbelievable. There you go. That's Dan Marino. There's two types of people. One, professional client facing when it matters who hears them. And then two, when the cameras are off and it doesn't. And that's what you're getting from this show. You're going to get one version of us when we're actually working and it matters who's looking at us and here's what we have to say. And then another version of us when we're back behind the scenes eating dinner together around a table and just chopping it up. And that's what you're going to get from this podcast. I hope you like that. I hope you appreciate that. I hope you recognize that because people are giving it real here and it's fun. This has been awesome. The first month of episodes. I appreciate you all being along with us. Make sure you rate and subscribe on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there, and you can always watch us on YouTube. Just look up the vendor list, a wedding podcast. I'll see you all there. Be good, everybody. For Jess Nazarova, I hope she's having a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you are too. Good luck to all you couples getting married. Make sure you guys subscribe. We've got some good juicy nuggets every single week on Thursdays. Enjoy, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving weekend.